This is Peter Walsh with M&R.
Scott Ritter with the Decorated Apparel Expo.
This is Ben Landesman with Lawson Screen and Digital Products.
This is Deborah Sexton.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs
And Aaron Montgomery.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It is Friday, January 29th, 2021. We're already through the first month of 2021.
Unbelievable.
I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Today, Terry, we're checking back in. We're welcoming back Pete Lovelace from Booster Spiritwear, and he's going to help us decipher, what's next for apparel businesses. He's got a great article that we're going to reference and just get some insight from him. So looking forward to talking to Pete, but we've got a busy schedule here today, Terry, because before we talk to Pete, we've got another gentleman that we enjoy talking to, regular visitor here on Two Regular Guys. So let's go ahead and bring in Jay Bissell here real quick. Hey, welcome in, Jay. Thanks for being here. So what the heck are we talking about today, Jay?
We're fired up. That's what we're talking about here today.
Right.
You know that. Well, listen, thanks, guys, for letting me have a minute or two. I think I owe Terry a taco or a beverage or both. We're fired up because at Equipment Zone, we've been working hard to put together our latest training academy. We call it DTG Training Academy. So on Thursday, February 4th, that would be a week from yesterday, or in 6 days if you're doing the math, we have an event, and it's an online event. It's a virtual event, and it starts at 2 o'clock Eastern, rolls through 4:30. And I bet you thought you were going to listen to Terry the whole time, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
No, that is not right.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll sign up then.
Who are we going to hear from then?
Well, we decided to go in a different direction based on feedback from our last session and from several virtual events that I've attended. We realized that the virtual event is not the same thing as in person. So a 45-minute session is long, and then if you had 3 or 4 45-minute sessions, you're putting people to sleep. It's just, we needed to go at a faster pace. And so what we did is we said, okay, to our amazing experts, we challenged them and said, do you think you could drop some knowledge bombs in like 10 minutes? What about 12 minutes? What about 15? And so every single guest we have is going to be somewhere between 8, 10, and 15 minutes at the longest. And they're just going to get right to it. They're going to say, you need to know these 3 things about, and then fill in the topic. So if it's DTG printing, if it's selling more merchandise online, if it's working with raster graphics, if it's how to pre-treat a garment, all of those things are going to just be kind of quick, to the point, fun, because we're lighthearted. We're having fun at Equipment Zone. I don't know if you've noticed.
It shows. You're wearing it, Jay. It's nice.
I know. I can't help it. So without going down this big long list, but we have Ali Banholzer, we have Roger Burnett, we have Tim Check from Epson, we have Dane Clement, who most of you know. We have this guy named Terry Combs. We're not sure what he does. We have Mel Lay from All Made Apparel. We have Adrian Palmer from Screen Printing Magazine. We have Matt Rome from Epson. We have Ken White from Cotton Heritage, and we have Paul Zingone from Vastex International. So we got quite the lineup. Plus, we're sprinkling in a few Equipment Zone peeps just for for good times.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're fired up. We want people to sign up. It's free. It's a free training. It's all about training. This is not a sales pitch, no matter what Terry Combs might tell you. This is about training.
Nice. So
Mike just cut my mic again.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of cutting Terry's mic, though, I do have one like a technical question. Are you going to make Terry then introduce himself before he goes on? Because normally it takes him about 10, 15 minutes just to get into the introduction.
Well, yeah, don't tell him, but we're going to act like we're doing the intro, but it won't be live. And then when he's done, we'll be like, okay, and now. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me take some opportunity to throw some stones at you there, Terry. But Terry, what else do we need to know about this thing?
Well, gosh, it's just, we've been doing these DTG academies for a few years now. And so we know what works and what doesn't work. And it's just going to be a lot of really great information. And just like Jay said, it's going to be fast paced. So you're not going to be bored. It's going to be interviews. It's going to be live printing. It's going to be demonstrations, and all intermix and click through the whole process. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. And as Jay said, it is free to attend.
Hey,
Excellent.
can I share some breaking news? I know you've got an amazing guest in Pete Lovelace, but I've got some breaking news for the
Sure.
regulators. Can I do that?
Please.
Any drum roll, any graphics? Eric, do we have any fun? Nah, forget it. So check this out. We're going to have a networking party. We're going to call it the Easy Mixer. So at the conclusion of our event, and I gave Terry a little walkthrough of this amazing new platform. And I'm not going to tell you where it is because you're going to go and you're going to try to figure it out. It's an amazing platform specifically built online for networking, like for social networking, fun, party, mixer. And the atmosphere is a blast. Am I right, Terry?
It was very, very cool for the demo. I'm pretty excited about it.
Is it anything like Zoom?
No, not at all.
Is it anything like StreamYard?
No. It's totally unique.
Yeah, was it fun? It was a blast. So I can't wait
fun.
to have a couple hundred people in there. We have so many people that have already registered. So listen, it's going to be a blast. We're going to try to make this like our kickoff to 2021. And as best as we can, we want to have a kick-ass trade show. We're just going to do it virtually. So that's my breaking news is
Cool.
We've added an amazing mixer after the training. And
Cool.
that's free too.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, check it out. We'll put it up on screen here. It's in the comments, but you can find out more about it over there at equipmentzone.com/DTG-Academy. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jay. Is any last minute tidbits before we move on?
Well, I wish I had an epic dad joke, but I don't. So I'm going to leave that to you guys. I can't wait to listen to your guest. And I really appreciate you letting me give a shout out to all of the folks, all of the regulators. You guys do an amazing job. So back at you for creating this platform and giving me 5 minutes to blab about, this promotion.
That's awesome. Well, looking forward to it. I know my wife and I are signed up, so we will see you guys there. And one more time on the date and time, Jay?
Yeah, one more time on the date and time. So February, if you will circle your calendars, February hold on, I don't want to mess this up. Now you got me on the spot. It's the 4th. I almost said the 6th because I was thinking 6 days from now. February 4th, the 4th of February, 2 p.m. Eastern is our go time.
All right. Well, so that's 1 p.m. Central Time for everybody in the center of the universe time here no, I'm just kidding. All right. Perfect. Thank you, Jay. Excellent. We will look forward to seeing you in 6 days' time, sir. On
Thursday. See you there.
All right. Take care, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. Well, Terry, that was fantastic, exciting stuff. You can just tell me what the platform is. It's just us here, just between friends. So.
I'd have to go look it up.
Nice. I love it. All right. Well, so I'm pushing buttons too. So pay attention, everybody. It's going to be crazy. We've got our regulators checking in with us this morning. Todd, good morning. Dan Campbell, and he says cello. I believe that was intentional. And happy Friday, Dan and Wade. Hello, Gusta. Oops. All right, we got lots of checking in. We're not going to be able to get to everybody, but appreciate everybody tuning in and looking forward to hearing from you guys as we get ready to talk to Pete. Sharon asked the question, Terry, here on the DTG Academy. Will it be recorded and available after the fact?
It will be recorded, correct.
Okay. All right. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Terry. All right. And so we got everybody checking in. Couple quick news items here, Terry, before we get to Pete. The ISA Board of Directors announced that its ISA Sign Expo 2021 will go completely virtual, taking place over its scheduled dates of April 7th through the 9th. The board released a statement reading in part, "We continue to closely monitor the ongoing developments with the coronavirus and the related effects of it. While the opening of the event is not for a few months, we must make decisions now about whether ISA can host an in-person event. Given the current state of the pandemic, we believe that the only solution will be for ISA Sign Expo 2021 to become a fully virtual event taking place over the same dates." So you can check out more information. And there we go. Eric is back and making it happen here. So you can check out more information over there I'm going to hit the button one more time, Eric, and then I'll stop. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. All right, Terry, what about you? What news came across your desk this week?
Beginning February 1st, 2021, Graphic Solutions Group, GSG, in Dallas will begin offering Stahl's complete range of CAD cut heat transfer vinyl and best-selling athletic numbers. Also, Hotronix heat press equipment, and GSG, a well-known and highly respected consumable and equipment wholesale distributor for the apparel decorating, digital printing, electronic signs, and commercial sign market since 1950. Stahl's and GSG will work together to actively support customers throughout the region with training as well as collaborating on marketing efforts. And for more information, you can go to gogsg.com. And Aaron, should I say, GSG folks, there's a guy in the back of the hall every time before every trade show in the morning. The GSG folks have a little meeting. You hear them go, GSG.
Yeah. They do.
And I'm in the back going, yeah, you know me.
It's like clockwork. They do their cheer. Terry says, yeah, you know me. So good times. Always a good time at the trade shows. I can't wait till we get back out to the in-person opportunities to have those little fun moments. So
exactly.
All right, Terry. Well, let's keep moving forward here because we've got lots of ground we want to cover with Pete here in just a moment.
Absolutely. Aaron, before we dive in, we want to thank everyone for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. If you or anyone you know would like to join us on the show, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2 regular guys, and share your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version, we would appreciate you sharing with your friends so they can become regulators too. Plus, we would love and appreciate you to give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and now on Amazon Podcasts. If you're watching live right now, please join in with your comments and questions. Reach out to your industry friends and ask them to join us too.
Outstanding. All right. Well, Terry, let's just dive right in. We definitely want you guys to reach out and because I'm looking forward to also hearing the regulators' take on all this. You know, what's next for the apparel businesses?
Absolutely.
And some of the takes that Pete has here are fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. But I also want to mix that in. So appreciate you guys showing up and being here. So let's do that. Let's welcome in Pete here, Terry, and
all right.
And then of course most of the regulators might be a little bit nervous right now because we have not done the dad joke yet. But if you recall, Pete actually was the one that got this whole dad joke thing started. So we certainly could not do the dad joke without giving that floor over to Pete first. So why don't you introduce him real quick and then we'll get the dad joke and we'll get started.
he's the granddaddy of the dad jokes.
There we go. I like it. Perfect.
All right. After 12 years in the hospitality industry, managing luxury resorts for Ritz-Carlton and other premium brands, our guest made a career change to better align his priorities and passions in life. In 2017, he became general manager of Booster Spiritwear, a custom apparel business serving schools and communities. The company has exceeded $6 million in annual sales in just 5 years and is committed to enhancing the lives of its team, partners, clients, and their communities to radically change the industry. Welcome back to the show, Pete.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back, Pete. Exciting to have you back. So yes, we've set you up. We've put you in a really awkward, bad situation, but you got to bring us a dad joke. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I don't know if I want to be accredited with starting this whole thing.
All right, let's rephrase that then. You gave us a great dad joke, and then we thought, hey, let's make this something that's part of Two Regular Guys. So we'll take credit for it. You can just be the one that has the good dad jokes. We'll go with that.
These jokes need a good platform to be shared from. So thank you for providing this one.
You're welcome.
All right. So Terry, Aaron, did you guys hear the rumor about the butter?
Did not.
Did not.
Well, I did, but I'm not going to be the one to spread it.
Yes. See, we knew it. We knew Pete would come through. Pete, thank you. All right. So last time we had you on, you were kind of in the unenviable position of the time slot that was March 20th, 2020, kind of D-Day. I think basically was when a lot of us were really just trying to come to grips with what COVID meant to us and And again, appreciate you being gracious enough to still help us explore that. I know you were crazy busy in that time. And we did talk about being a virtuous leader, and hopefully people can go back and tune back into that one and check it out again if they missed it. But maybe you can start us off with maybe another check-in. It's been about 10 months. So how are things over at Booster now?
Well, I'm sure like most of my friends and peers in the industry, it's been a roller coaster of the last 10 months. The emotion or the feeling I would use to describe it as whiplash, because literally by the hour, sometimes we feel like we're thrusting forward, and then other times we feel like we're being pulled backward. On that day, March 17th, we watched our revenue as a company, both our company and parent company, go down to zero. And for 180 days, our parent company, which mainly focuses on fundraising in schools, did not make a single dollar. And our apparel business came back slowly, but overall, we spent the entire spring down between 70 and 80%. So it's been really hard. We're too big when you look at us as a whole company, both the apparel side and the fundraising and events business. We were too big for PPP. So we missed out on a lot of the government stimulus. And at the same time, we felt this obligation to our team members to try and keep them employed and on board as long as we could. But by the time June rolled around, the realization that this COVID was going to be with us for a long time, we had to drastically reduce our staff. So we cut about 50% of our workforce, and really just struggled for a while to figure out how we were going to move forward. And we've used this language in the course of the last 10 months: survive, revive, and thrive. And those first few months were all about survival. I mean, just fighting to keep the lights on and to live for tomorrow, and then live for the day after, and make a sale to get us to the next payroll. And then slowly, as things started to open up and I think people just began comfortable with this is the new normal, we started to change the language from survive to revive. Now it was about how do we breathe life and purpose into our business, but differently than what it looked like before COVID. And recently we've started casting vision for everybody about what does it mean to thrive once again. Terry, you mentioned, I mean, we had unbelievable success early on very quickly as an apparel business. And I believe we're going to experience that tenfold coming out of this because we've done the right things to manage this crisis in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
Awesome. When we reached out to you to come on the show again, it was partly because Aaron had seen an article you'd written for Printed United Journal. And by the way, if the regulators want to check that out, you can find it at regularguys.com/what's next. So let's start there. What was the inspiration for that article, and what did you hope that it was going to do for the readers, for the regulators out there?
So it started out as more of just almost a journaling or a memoir of what I, as a business leader, had experienced from March 17th on. And as I kind of worked with the folks at Impressions and Printing United, we kind of crafted it to be a little bit more of a how-to manual for other business leaders that might be in a similar position. And so I wanted to be as open as possible about what we'd experienced, both from incredible failure and revenue loss to incredible breakthrough and new starts. And I hope it was helpful, because I think what I learned, and of course hindsight's always 20/20, but I really experienced this, is that we do have to evolve as an industry. And I think COVID brought us face to face with that reality. And a lot of shop owners who had been doing things the same way for a long time, all of a sudden were confronted with the reality that that's not going to work anymore. So we had our own experiences, but it thrust us into this necessary, they say necessity is the mother of invention. It thrust us into that environment where we were able to really capitalize and learn some important lessons that are ultimately going to reshape our business going forward.
I think that journaling approach also for for people who had also experienced it is probably made them feel a little bit better about the experience they'd gone through as well, to kind of see how another business had dealt with that unprecedented situation.
Yeah. And I will say this, as we were going through it, like two specific examples come to mind. I mean, for the first 2 weeks, I literally just sat in it and watched the orders cancel out and watched, the email traffic come to a screeching halt, and just tried to figure out, like, what does this mean? And really kind of examining my own purpose and my own role in this whole story of our business and the industry and the mission behind our business, and just kind of wondering, like, is this it? Is this how it ends? But then about 2 weeks into it, I woke up and was like, damn it, no, this is not how it ends. And there are opportunities out there. And while our market, schools primarily, might be closed, it doesn't mean that we can't offer value and serve clients and make a difference in other areas. And so we literally just started trying things. Everything from a campaign. We partnered with No Kid Hungry, which is a great organization that helps provide school meals. That was one of the biggest crises going on in the spring, because all these kids didn't have access to lunches from schools. Yeah. So we partnered with them and said, hey, we care about schools and kids. You care about schools with kids. What can we do? And we did a huge t-shirt fundraiser and raised a ton of money for No Kid Hungry program. And we also got a bunch of new exposure to clients who we had never even thought of serving before. And then a month later, we did the same thing with American Nursing Association. We were every day confronted with these harrowing images of healthcare workers and frontline emergency responders really fighting this fight on our behalf. We just said, what can we do to help? Well, now more than ever, we need to be united, and that's even harder than ever before because of social distancing. Let's do a t-shirt campaign and raise some money for the nurses and celebrate these amazing men and women battling COVID on our behalf. And that raised a lot of money, and it gave us a lot of exposure. We even got coverage on a couple of local news stations. So it was through that, just not being afraid to fail, which COVID basically gave us the opportunity to do because we had nothing to lose anymore, that we started figuring out, like, oh, this is actually a viable business strategy. And this could actually work in post-COVID times. And we learned a lot of lessons, but that's now become part of our playbook going forward. And that's really what I focus the article on is, hey, now that we've all experienced these types of campaigns, these types of e-commerce evolutions, we're not going backward. So as a business owner or a business leader, you've got to figure out how to capitalize on some of these new trends that now are expected. Otherwise, you're going to be irrelevant come 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, Sharon says, hindsight is really 2020 now. Come on, 2021. I thought that was a good point. So, Pete, I know you've kind of been alluding to this and talking about this a little bit, but one of the quotes that really stood out to me was, it's not a good use of leadership's time to continue focusing on how to keep the lights on and make a quick sale. That just kind of really stuck with me. Like, yeah, I guess so. Like you said, you sat in it, you kind of were like the fret, but what is a good use of leadership's time? Can you explain that a little bit more for us?
Yeah. And let me say that I wrote that in response and out of reflection to the way our CEO and president of our parent company led through this crisis, because they modeled such incredible, selfless, courageous leadership. That it made me really think, gosh, that's what we need to be doing as leaders. So whether you lead one other person or you lead 1,000 people, I think the principles are the same. And what I really meant by that is this idea. If you read, Proverbs, it's where there is no vision, people perish. George Washington Carver said it this way: where there is no vision, there is no hope. But the idea is the same, that as leaders, it's our job to cast vision, provide people inspiration, and give people hope. And you can't do that if you're just wallowing in self-pity or thinking pessimistically about your situation. we get plenty of that anywhere we look
Yeah.
in today's world. So we coined this term conservative optimism during this whole crisis. We didn't, and we're all students of history and we love military history. We didn't want to be guilty of the Stockdale paradox, which just says it'll get better next week. It'll be better tomorrow. Next month, COVID's going to go away, because we kept, I mean, you heard, we'll open the country up by Easter. The country will be opened up by Mother's Day. And that didn't come true. So we didn't want to be guilty of that, but we also didn't want to be guilty of just accepting our current circumstances for what they are, not doing anything. So we balanced on this mindset of conservative optimism, and just tried through that language of survive, revive, thrive, really to level set expectations of where we were, but where we were going as a company, to give people hope and to give people something to look forward to and live into as they were facing every day with the challenges we all experienced.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what I meant by that. It's fine to spend some time looking at your financials, looking at your receivables, getting your business in order. But if you're just in the back room with the door closed, looking at that and not out winning the hearts of your team, inspiring confidence for your clients, you're really not doing your job as a leader. You're managing, you're not leading.
Yeah, that's fantastic point, and just it speaks to that whole mindset that really was required to be a good leader throughout this crisis. So you also talk about keeping clients for life. So talk to us a little bit more about that as well.
This is something I'm really excited about, because I think this is what we learned through COVID and we're taking with us as we go forward. If you think about these brands, Starbucks, Zappos, Chick-fil-A, they don't sell chicken, shoes, coffee. They sell emotional experiences. They sell confidence. They sell quality. They sell surprise delight. And that's why people reroute their entire day or pass by multiple other providers to buy specifically from those places. And it's because they've created an environment that we feel comfortable in and we feel loyal to. So in the midst of this pandemic, the idea of just selling bulk orders of apparel kind of went out the window, because that wasn't there anymore. And so what we ended up doing was we went out and curated programs and put together solutions for companies. Like I mentioned earlier, No Kid Hungry. We didn't just sell them 10,000 t-shirts. We put together a whole campaign that involved marketing, that involved logistics, that involved client care, account management, and ultimately production and fulfillment and shipping of those goods. And we did the same thing with American Nursing Association and a bunch of others. And so I quickly started to see that by layering in solutions to a company's problems or needs, we were able to solve this overarching issue of complexity by giving them simplicity. And what that did for us as a company is it allowed us to actually forge a relationship far beyond just a single sale, because we now were involved in their website and their e-commerce business. We were involved in their marketing and their branding. I was jumping on Zoom calls once a day to go over sales reports, go over projections. I was talking to their clients to try and instill confidence in who they'd chosen to partner with us with for merchandise and apparel. We expanded the product mix, and in the midst of all this, we actually absorbed and partnered with a promotional products business. So now we offer not only apparel, but promotional products. So we became a one-stop shop for people to bundle all these things together. And all of a sudden I sort of realized, like, wow, we are integrating vertically on a whole number of levels with these bigger businesses, and we're becoming partners of theirs. And that's a really good place to be when you're taking the long-term view in regards to how you serve clients and how you create value.
We talk about all the time about the philosophy of keeping, keeping the customers we have, but I guess it came home to roost during 2020 that gosh, we've got to hold on to the customers we have, and it's always easier to keep a customer you have than to get a new one out there. So
absolutely, and we see now that it's easier to keep a customer when you're able to evolve with them as their business evolves. And so if all you ever do is provide a transactional exchange, cash for t-shirts, eventually that business is probably going to need something more, or they're going to come into contact with somebody that's willing to provide them a lot more than just that transactional exchange. And that's where you stand to lose that client, not because you didn't serve them well, just because you're no longer as relevant to their overall value prop as what they need.
And our listeners too, they see this and say, well, that was a huge project, but this translates all the way down to selling to the local softball team. Make it easy to buy, So,
I mean, a great example, literally not softball, but lacrosse and football. We're in Georgia, and again, everyone has a different perspective on what is COVID safe and COVID compliant, but the Southeast is a little more open than most other states. So we had sports leagues running this spring. It looked very different, but one of the things we did was we ran direct to home shipment programs for these sports teams. Normally they'd get their uniforms or their shirts in one big box and everybody handing them out, and that just wasn't happening. So what we did was we set up online stores and we took pre-orders, we produced everything, and then we individually packed every single uniform, every single t-shirt, and sent it directly to the players' homes.
Yeah.
That was something we were not set up to do. And it wasn't all that easy, but we had a little extra time on our hands, and we realized this is the only way we're going to make the sale. So we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it becomes, like I said, it becomes different than just that transactional experience. Like you referenced, the Chick-fil-A and all that other stuff. I mean, some people might love their chicken, but probably it's not much different than any other chicken you can get out there. It's that experience that you get that makes you love that chicken so much, right? It's that that feeling that you get, and the same thing happens for this. It's that feeling of, my kid plays volleyball, and he got his uniforms and stuff like that, and getting his own package where he was opening stuff up. That was a cool experience. Unfortunately, the printing sucked, but hey, the experience was good.
And I'll say this, with every one of those stores and every one of those orders, we got an email address. So we were able to send them a thank you email a week later with a little PS. If you need custom apparel for any, organization or business you're a part of, here's 10% off.
That's awesome.
Now I've got a marketing and a sales funnel that didn't exist 6 months ago, and a whole new client base to focus on.
That's awesome.
And if you're at a party with 10 people, somebody in that room is in the market for what we sell. So that email's perfect.
All 10 people are.
I do have to admit though, my heightened craving for Chick-fil-A is always on Sunday. So, well, in your article, you also talk about basically giving customers the best tools to buy from us. So talk to us a little bit about stabilizing operations.
I'll be honest, we're still working on that because again, so much of this was just a throw it against the wall and let's see if it sticks.
Sure.
But I think one thing we've always done really well is as a company and as a team is have a shared definition of success and really develop a plan of initiatives and actions that help us achieve that shared definition of success. So it looked very different. I know some of y'all were at ThreadX, which would have been 11 months ago. And I got up there and presented this incredible 5-year strategic plan that I had just poured my heart and soul in. And we were going to get to $20 million, and everything looked so beautiful on that plan. A month later, COVID hit. And like I said, our revenue dropped to 90% of what it was. But we continued to employ the practices that have always worked well for us. And that's how we standardized operations, even in the midst of things being really disjointed and chaotic. We assigned people very specific roles. We took people off press because it wasn't as busy on press, and we put them in the shipping department, or we put them in the fulfillment and packing department. And we gave very specific instructions on how this needed to work. And every day at the end of the day, we'd have a recap where we'd write down our wins for the day and our losses. And we'd figure out before we left for the day what we needed to fix in the morning to do a better job the next day. So we were just relentless about getting better each day and studying what the numbers were telling us and finding out solutions to that. And then we kind of laddered that up from a daily basis to a weekly basis with the leadership team. We rewrote our strategic plan. We redefined those key objectives and then put specific results in place. And normally we'd meet every week as a leadership team, but during this whole crisis, we moved it to twice a week. And we would just do a readout of, hey, here's my objective. Here are the results I'm responsible for. And here's how progress is going since we met 2 days ago. Here's what I need help with. And we banded together closer and more deeply than we ever had before to really help each other. So there's no magic pill or panacea. It just comes down to that old adage, you manage what you measure. And in the midst of COVID, we just realized we had to start measuring different things, but we had to let the data tell us what we needed to find solutions for, what we needed to invest in. And we started to see competency build in these areas and habits build in these areas. We also reached out to a lot of other companies that were doing this and doing this better than us, had been doing it longer for us, and said, can you help us? We're now in the fulfillment business, and we've never done that. How does it look? So, I mean, I'd get on Zoom calls with fashion brands and retail stores and just say, walk me through your process for this. And we just aggregated best practices and then tried to incorporate them in our business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that you talk about that you are reviewing regularly and looking for those, what the wins and what things need to be improved on. And I think that can bring a lot of stability at every level of a company, because of the fact that, that ability to reach towards mastery, I think gives people a lot of stability. Okay, I'm growing myself too, and so I think that's a great piece that you guys are adding on a regular basis there.
And that was kind of I hesitate to say fun, because it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But when you're a press operator or when you're in the QC department and day in and day out, you're focused on pretty much one task, one track that you're responsible for. And all of a sudden everything changes. It was really fun to invite people into that cycle of development and have people do jobs they'd never done before and really tap into the creative genius of our entire team. Because we said it like, hey guys, we're all business owners right now, because if this business goes under, we're all out, and we actually are in jeopardy of that. So we need everybody to think like an owner, to act like an owner, and do whatever we need to be successful. And I just love the way our team really stepped into that challenge and that new identity.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we've talked to business owners all through this process, and the ones that have seemed to succeed through it or still operating through it are the ones who did just that. We talked to Lon Winter with Graphic Elephants, and he talked about having weekly meetings with his entire staff. Here's where we are. Here's where we need to be. Here's our financial situation, and we're going another week, and let's talk about it next week. We're going another week. Let's talk about it next week. And I think that was empowering for the staff too, to be brought into. You can't keep this a secret. Everybody, if it's a secret, then everybody's wondering, is the shoe dropping today? Is the shoe dropping today? So
yeah.
Yep. And that's so good. And let me just add one more thing. I've been so blessed with only a few years in this industry to be in some circles of influence that are just amazing with industry professionals and really exceptional business leaders. And I serve on a committee with Lon. And I'll tell you what, in the midst of all this, I have never valued that community more than ever, because I'd get on calls with people and say, help me figure this out. What do I do? Or I might have to get rid of this person, not because they did a poor job, but because we don't have the money. Like, is there any other option you can think of? And just to have people on the other side of the screen to be able to bounce those ideas off of was so valuable and so helpful for me as a leader, because it was easy to feel isolated. So you mentioned Lon, and I mean, he's just been a great mentor and a really great inspiration to me and others as we try and manage through this. So if you're not in a professional group and an industry group and a community group, I'd suggest that you get into one for none other reason than just to be able to be able to exchange ideas with people. It's so helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we've been talking about this all along, I think, but in the article you talk about reconfiguring your business. So what does that mean exactly to our listeners out there about reconfiguring their own business?
So I said that based on this stat that I read back in, I think, August. COVID accelerated technology by the equivalent of 10 years in 9 months.
Wow.
My own mother, who can't even FaceTime, was having Zoom calls with her college roommates every Monday during COVID. Like, that's something that just would have been unfathomable had this crisis not happened.
Right.
So there's examples of that all over. My mother-in-law now orders all of her groceries online, doesn't go to the grocery store anymore. So we experienced this unbelievable technology revolution at an accelerated speed. And what that has done is, I believe it's sort of reset the expectations for all businesses. Because if you now can't compete at that level in terms of tech and speed and delivery, you're irrelevant all of a sudden. If somebody who's now accustomed to doing all these things online now has to go back to the old traditional method of sending emails back and forth and waiting 48 hours or 72 hours to place their order, that ain't gonna work if there's another option out there that they can do instantaneously. So I really, when I talk about reconfiguring the business, that's what I'm focused on, is how do we become relevant now that technology has leaped a decade in a period of 9 months and has completely revolutionized most of the manual processes that we had just accepted as status quo 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And I've always been inspired by this quote, but it's become even more relevant in COVID as things have changed so drastically. Jack Welch, the famous CEO of GE, said that when the rate of change external to the organization exceeds the rate of internal change to the organization, disaster is imminent. What that means is, if you're not at least keeping up pace with the rate of change in the world around you, you're irrelevant. You're going to hit a disastrous point. So that's been what wakes me up and gets me going every single morning. Yeah. What are we going to change? What are we going to evolve today? Because guess what? Today is different than yesterday. Something happened in the last 24 hours that now either poses a threat or an opportunity to our business. But if we ignore it, it's automatically a threat and it's going to hurt us.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really good mindset to have. And regardless of where you are in your business, size of business, things like that, I mean, this is not just something that bigger companies have to deal with, or, whatever. This is, again, like you said, across the board, grandmas, moms, dads, people that shun technology now embrace it and realize that, I don't need to do the things, the fact that phones still ring is amazing to me.
I know it's expensive. Don't get me wrong, but there are ways to do it on the cheap, and there's also ways to kind of half step it. You might not be able to launch a site like Custom Ink tomorrow, where everything's totally automated and every piece of apparel's there and every image can be vectorized and done without the involvement of a graphic designer. But what you could do is spin up a Shopify site and put 4 items on there and just give people an opportunity to at least get an instant quote or price out something very basic and connect with you. Because once you have them, then you can relationship email or over Zoom or a phone call. But if they can't, if you can't instill confidence and you can't reach them on a digital landscape in the first 5 minutes, they're going to move on to the next person that can. And that's really what inspired us and got us moving much faster during COVID. Was we got to be able to do this.
Yeah. That's awesome, Pete. So we've been talking a lot about the article. You've shared a ton about what you've got going on, but what else? What else is new and good there at Booster for you? What's the big positive here that we can all hang our hat on?
The big positive is I think we're going to become more relevant to businesses than ever before. I think it's not going to be so much predicated on the products we sell, but the solutions that we deliver for clients. Because no longer, and I think this is here to stay for a lot of businesses, businesses don't have offices full of people to do a lot of the sorting and the kitting and the extra touches that would previously be given to the products that we produce. That's not as easy to do anymore. There's not interns at the, in the back office that can fold and pack the t-shirts. There's not the secretary at the front desk that can hand out the welcome bag when the client walks in the door. So we don't have the PTA mom on campus 5 days a week sorting all the spiritware and emailing all the families to come get their spiritware. So what it's done is it's given us this opportunity to kind of say, hey, how can we fill that gap? And I mean, I can tell you stories, everything from promotional boxes that we're doing with apparel inside of it that businesses are sending to clients over the holidays for new client prospecting, to these campaigns we're running for fundraising. But there's all these really great opportunities to actually be relevant and provide a whole lot more value, which, by the way, you can charge for. If you're alleviating a pain point and you're providing added service, you can charge for that. You should charge for that. You have to charge for that. Yep. And I think it just makes us that much more relevant and needed. And so that gets me really excited, is we're no longer just the t-shirt people. And I, as a person who had a career in hospitality, in serving guests, in creating these experiences, I always wanted to be a little bit more than just the t-shirt guy. And so I love being able to collaborate and serve clients on a much higher and more needed and personal level than just, here's your box of t-shirts. Thanks so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And prior to 2020, we would have these shows where we would talk about doing these types of things, and people would nod and smile and agree and not do anything about it. Now you have to.
Yeah,
you do. And again, it's an awesome opportunity. Yeah, you have to. And you know what? You can increase your revenue, and you can increase your relevancy, and you can accomplish all these things because the opportunity is now there. Businesses are looking for it, and I think that's ultimately what's going to redefine our industry going forward in 2021 and the years following.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Yep, that service mindset, and like I said, you come from a perfect place for that, and it shows that you still wear that passion for that kind of service. So we appreciate you sharing that with us.
All right, Aaron, did you want to touch on any of the listeners' comments, or are we going to keep moving.
Yeah, let's hit a couple of those here real quick. We'll go back a hair. And so Pete, apologize, we're jumping around because some of these things happened when we were talking earlier, but we felt like we were heading in the right direction. But Dale at Blackbird Studio Design says there are 3 management styles in descending order: leader, manager, and administrator. Pete, you definitely talked about that a little bit, but any other takes on that?
No, I think that's spot on. And I think as a business owner, as a general manager, as kind of a top leader in the organization, you're all 3. You just got to know which role you need to play when. Because if you're just out there all the time being charismatic, inspiring, casting vision, some of that management and administrative stuff is going to bite you because it's got to be done. But if you're also always in the back room, managing and administering, and not actually out there with your team or with your clients, you're also going to suffer. So you got to know what role you need to play when. And during the crisis, which is very much still affecting us and others, I think there was a need for leadership. In fact, we rolled out this kind of anthem to our company: it's time to lead. We need to lead. And so that was just that was the role we felt like we most needed to embody during this time.
That's great. That's great. Okay. And then another comment here. This is from our producer, Eric, says, harkening back to that fateful ThreadX presentation, I can't help but think about your take on celebrating your people and your successes. How are you celebrating your employees and your company wins during this difficult time?
The same way we did when times were good, minus the cruise to Mexico. But it's just, it's about loving people well and just helping them feel known. And we did that. In fact, we try to do that more regularly during this crisis. We came up with a fun little award called the Golden Squeegee. Took a squeegee, spray painted it gold, and every week we'd acknowledge somebody as the Golden Squeegee winner. They'd get the squeegee. They got to pose with it, like the Stanley Cup. We had like a whole little photo booth set up, and we gave out T-shirts only to the Golden Squeegee winners. And we just tried to find ways to have fun and call out the many good things that were going on. And I think that's what it's all about. I mean, you don't have to have crazy big budgets, but you got to be intentional about it. And that was what was most important when our budget was gone and we couldn't do big raises and we couldn't do trips and we couldn't do a lot of things that we'd done. We still wanted to live out that virtue of ours of celebration. Yeah. And I feel like we did that well. And we even celebrated the people that we had to let go because of COVID. I mean, there were, like I said, we reduced the workforce 50%. And still, we love those people on the way out. I filmed some videos for families of the team members that we let go, just honoring what they've done for us, doing a highlight reel of their time at Booster, and just really trying to do everything I could to honor that individual, even though they were having to leave Booster.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's great. That's great.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, in the spirit of celebration, I've got several confetti cannons that I can send your way because my wife won't let me set them off in the house anymore. So
we'll shoot them off. In fact, just outside, we just shot one off about an hour ago. So
oh man, you get a stock of them. I love it.
Great.
Well, Pete, I know that.
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
I was just going to say, I know that you are going to hang around to do 5 things for us, but how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you?
Well, boosterspiritwear.com is our website. So you can find me there. I even have started monitoring our live chat a couple hours a day. So you might just get me responding on the live chat.
Cool.
Also Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, at Lovelace_Pete, and Pete L at boosterspiritwear.com.
Awesome, Pete. Well, hang tight. Well, let's do 5 things here, and then we'll get you out of here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Eric. All right, Eric.
Have we lost Eric?
I don't know if we've lost him or not, but or where. All right, Pete. So 5 things.
Well, first of all, guys, I love this idea. So thank you for inviting me into this. And I was doing some research on other people's 5 things and took a lot of inspiration from it. So here are my 5 things that I want to take with me from 2020. I think a lot of people are trying to leave everything in the year we just lived through and don't carry anything forward. I think there's some things that we should bring forward. And here are my 5 things. So first of all, don't be afraid to fail. I think I spent a lot of years prior to 2020 being afraid to fail, not taking enough risks. And when everything's on the line, you need to take some risks. And so don't be afraid to fail. And a lot of the things we tried failed, but a lot of things we tried worked. And it's really why I'm here talking to you with the lights still on and the big booster shining in the back there. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. I think there were a lot of cool stories. We experienced some where all of a sudden there was a little bit more time in the day, and I was able to dive into some things that I'd been putting off for weeks, months, years. And that just led to this habit of accomplishment and more organization and saying, no, if this is important to me, darn it, I'm going to go after it today. I'm going to get started today. So don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Date your spouse. Okay. We celebrated our 10th anniversary. We've got three little girls in the midst of COVID. And because there was that extra time and we were going a little stir crazy, Em and I said, you know what? Let's just do lunch dates every day. We'll just make a picnic. We'll go for a walk. We'll just hang out. And that was so awesome. And it was like I was dating my spouse all over again from 10 years ago. And we connected on levels that we just haven't since we started having kids and life got crazy. So all from now on, we're going to do dates every week and just have that to ourselves. Date your spouse. Think and act out of your values and virtues. And this was so critical in 2020 and the COVID pandemic. I shared our virtues at ThreadX. I talked about those 6 virtues, what they mean to us. But I'll tell you, when we were tested as leaders and tested as an organization, I think we earned so much credibility from our team, from our clients, because we operated out of our virtues. And that's why you have them, to serve as your true north. When times are good and times are bad, everything should calibrate back to your virtues. So if they're just words on the wall or words on the page, they're not serving the purpose they're supposed to. You need to operate and make all your decisions out of those values. And then lastly, do for one what you wish you could do for all. There was a lot of times during COVID that there were team members that left our business that I never got a chance to say goodbye to. There were clients that just disappeared off the face of the earth. And I don't know if they're closed down or what, but I haven't heard from them. But the ones that I could say a word of encouragement to, the ones that I could jump on a Zoom call and ideate with and figure things out with, that was so meaningful, and it created a lot of great opportunities. So do for one what you wish you could do for all. I wish I could do that for everybody, but I can't. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't do it for the people that I can. So I'm just trying to live day to day with that mindset.
That's awesome. Wonderful.
Those are great.
Yeah, fantastic. Really great stuff. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, and best of to everything. I mean, just, we are inspired by your leadership, and we appreciate you sharing your leadership with our community and the regulators here. So thanks for being here today, Pete.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all.
Thanks, Pete.
Terry, that was fantastic, man.
I know. I love having Pete on the show. He's so motivational, even when he's talking about, paring down the staff and all those kinds of things. It's still an inspiration to listen to him share his story.
Yeah. He's one of the few people that can make a 90% decline in sales feel inspirational, and that's fantastic. And that's what you have to do, and that's what he had to do, and I think that's what the leaders that like you said, lights are on, things are happening, things are different for sure, but he's confident that they're going to rebound to tenfold where they were heading before. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, boy, not a whole lot of bonus time today, but we can stretch this a hair. No, I'm just kidding. But please do share with us. I know we got to talk about the DTG Academy, but just one more time, share with us what you've got coming up, including that, and anything else that you've got on your docket there.
Yeah, as Jay Bassell mentioned, February 4th, Equipment Zone's DTG Virtual Academy. It's 2 to 4:30 Eastern, 1 to 3:30 Center of the Universe Central Time. It's free. You can sign up at equipmentzone.com. March 25th, I'll be presenting the DAX online seminar, and that will be discussing what it is you need to buy to get started as a screen printer. And my complete screen printing business course live in person.
Yes.
Talking to people right in front of me. Atlas
Get the mask on.
Exactly. But at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, we're going to start up May 22nd and 23rd. And you can find that at atlasScreenSupply.com or at my website and all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Well, before... I may have asked you this before, but I just want to make sure that this happens. So that's why I keep asking you. But at the complete screen printing business course, I know that typically you start off the session just, let's print a shirt. Let's get that out of the system, right?
Yes.
Hopefully I'm not giving away your secrets here, but
No.
but can you just maybe change that and just say, okay, let's all go print a face mask? And then
possibly so. That's not a bad idea.
All right. I think I brought that up, but now you've got it. Now you can use it. I've said it twice, so now you can just steal it as your own idea.
I noticed half of you aren't wearing masks. Let's go print some.
Because we'd like to get all of you wearing them. Yes, indeed. All right. For me, Terry, I've got Small Business Saturdays happening tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Center of the Universe time, Central Time. So this week, I'm going to break down 4 skills that successful people typically master and how we can master them ourselves. So you can check that out over at liveosg.com or at facebook.com/our success group pro. And again, that's happening tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. April 5th, I'm going to be presenting a DAX seminar, online live seminar, talking about conquering fear and living to tell about it. It's a opportunity to talk about how small businesses can overcome their fears to be able to step outside of their comfort zone and do the things that they need to do for success. So I'll share some techniques to confront fear and turn it into the art of success, and kind of drawing on my new certification. I think you can kind of see it right up there, maybe, for the success principles from Jack Canfield. So, and then October, I'm getting way far ahead here, Terry. How about April 7th? I'm at same DAX online seminar venue. We'll be talking about finding your niche for more success. As many of you that listen on the Two Regular Guys, you know that Terry and I are all about niche marketing. And so we want to focus your niche and make that a paramount part of your success. So we'll understand what having a niche means and walk through the steps of figuring out how to find your niche. So, and then lastly, I just want to tease this, and I haven't even talked to Eric about this, so he might throw stuff at me after the fact, but Eric and I are talking about maybe doing a little show, maybe starting next Friday, next month, to see how it goes. So we'll see. I think the test will be to see if we can keep it under 30 minutes. Do you think Eric and I could do a 30-minute or less show? Is that possible?
It's absolutely impossible.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see. Again, this is just a tease. I'm throwing it out there to the universe to see if I can make it happen.
Eric Campbell.
Eric Campbell. The Eric Campbell. Yes. So I pitched the idea of titling it EA Live. Eric and Aaron, see, but we'll see what sticks. So stay tuned. It'll probably be broadcast right on the same Two Regular Guys channels, maybe on Eric's channel, and definitely over at our success group. So that's just a maybe. Okay, well, it's a definite maybe. How about that?
Sorry, I think at 30 minutes, but
you have to be you have to be there at the first one, Terry, to hold that stopwatch for us.
I'll hit the kill button.
Oh my God, that'll be great. Giving Terry the kill button. That'll be a fun day for sure. All right. Well, speaking of Eric, he does have his program, The Take Up, happening at 2:30 Mountain Time today. This is episode 51. Today it's overlapping and density, outlining text, and selecting stitches. So any of you embroidery folks or people that want to know more about embroidery, because here's the deal. Even if you don't know about embroidery, you need to be able to talk the talk. And boy, if there's anybody that knows how to talk the talk and understands the technical aspect of embroidery, again, whether you're going to digitize, whether, just somebody that's in the apparel industry, you need to understand these things. So check that out over at his websites, facebook.com/eric.campbell, or you can find him at YouTube, search Eric Campbell, and check those shows out there. And for Eric on the DAX live event, he will be covering moving from hobby to pro, and he will also be talking about e-commerce for embroiderers. And then Applique Anyway is another program that he's got put together there. So we're changing as we go here, but anyhow, we've got lots of new stuff coming up from Eric, and we're gonna get all that nailed down here. Like I said, it may be just Eric and I'll have this show so I can just pin him down on subjects.
And for all our listeners out there, Eric is literally typing this stuff into our outline as we're saying it.
Sorry, Eric. You really do actually have it more together than I'm leading on. It's me that does not have it together. So, and then Todd says, only if you say it will be a 5-minute show will it last 30 minutes. So
there you go.
And then
back to me doing 52 niche markets in 52 minutes. Got like 14.
Yeah. I think you've had like 3 more shows since then, and you still haven't finished all 52, right? I love it. And then Jim, thank you very much for this kind remark. Terry, Aaron, and Eric did a great job at Impressions Connect. Yeah, it was totally new platform, and it was interesting to say the least. So hopefully people were able to get plenty of value out of it. So I enjoyed putting it together, and looking forward to being able to do more of that in the future if that's where Impressions is headed. So all right, Terry. Well, I think we've done it. I think we've come to the close of another show. We want to thank Pete Lovelace from Booster Spiritwear. Make sure that you're following him and checking out everything that they're doing over there. Not only are they doing some great stuff at Booster, just in general, you talked about some of the programs they're supporting. But again, if you're ever looking for somebody that is going to inspire you, Pete's a guy to follow. So check him out. And also thanks to Jay for dropping in for a few minutes earlier on today as well, Terry.
Yeah, and if you have any desire to see the confetti cannon go off, it's in our show clothes right now.
That's true. Good point.
All right. Thanks to our show producer, Eric Campbell, for keeping things running smoothly and making this show better every week. Thanks, Eric.
Yes, we appreciate that, Eric. And next week, Terry, we will be welcoming in a new guest, Jeff Schultzman with Team Sparkle Gear, and he's going to help us break down, discuss, just kind of generally work our way around dealing with jobs propagating hate. He reached out to us on social media through our Facebook page, and just had a discussion area that he wanted to see if we could cover. And we said, Jeff, we'd love to. Will you join us? And he agreed. So we're excited to have Jeff come in and talk about that. But we need you guys, the regulars. We need you to show up next week. All right. We not that you didn't show up this week. You guys show up every week, but we're really looking for your input and feedback on this topic next week, dealing with jobs propagating hate. So looking forward to that next week, Terry.
Which jobs do you take? Which jobs do you turn down? I think that's the bottom line. And who makes that decision on what this is? So, but
yeah.
We'll talk about that next week, right?
Yeah. Looking forward to exploring that. It's a tough question. Since he brought that up, I think all 3 of us, Eric and Terry and I, have kind of pondered that. I think every once in a while in our group chat, we'll pop something in. It's like, what about this kind of thing? So we're going to discuss this openly. It'll be a fun one for sure. So
I think so too. I think it'll be a very interesting show.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the 2 regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending